Hey, I got news for you, everybody. I don't hate JavaScript anymore. You know, it's a funny conversation I had with my Codepunk co-host, Bill Ahern, offline. We were actually talking about TypeScript and talking about JavaScript. And I came to the realization after building a lot of stuff with the Microsoft Bot Framework and the chatbots in TypeScript and doing some back-end stuff in TypeScript and a lot of the front-end stuff that I'm doing in my current job is in TypeScript, that considering the new APIs in JavaScript and considering ECMAScript 6 and some of the better enhancements, promises, async await, arrow functions, let and constant variables, I really don't hate JavaScript anymore. So this tutorial video is actually going to go over some of the things that people hate about JavaScript and why it is no longer relevant. So I'm going to do an entire series on this called I Don't Hate JavaScript Anymore. And we're going to start off quickly with taking a look at the way in which we're actually going to do this. We're going to do some stuff in Visual Studio Code, but we're actually going to do some stuff using the iJavaScript for Jupyter Notebooks. So of course, Jupyter Notebooks, if you don't know, was originally the IPython interpreter they created a notebook out of it, and now it's become quite famous as Jupyter, and it has all of these other languages that it supports. And one of those languages is, of course, JavaScript. My recommendation is to use the iJavaScript version. You can install this through npm. You can see some of if you go to the website, actually if you just search for iJavaScript, you'll end up with the npm site, and you'll end up with the GitHub account. Go to the GitHub account, click on the link for the home page. It takes you to the github.io. And this kind of shows you how it'll work. Has some announcements, some main features. So if we just kind of come down to installation. So it's an NPM module, so you will have to have NPM. And it actually tells you how to install it. Now, I already have it installed here, but we will take a look at a couple of things here. You're just going to do, and you might have to do this as an administrator, but you would do an NPM install iJavaScript, and you're going to do that globally. Now, you will have some issues if you do not have Python installed. You're going to have Python installed, and you're going to have Python installed. You're going to have to have version 2.7. So one of the things that you can do, so actually I'm going to open this up real quick. And I want you to see something real quick. We're going to go into C, users, my user ID, and we're going to scroll down, and you're going to see this Windows Build Tools. So when you go to install, I'm on a Windows machine. You might not have this problem on Linux or on Mac. In fact, the instructions are pretty explicit for Linux and Mac. If you were to try to install this and you did not have Python 2.7 installed and it was not in your environment and variables, it would complain, and it would tell you that you could actually solve this by installing Python and put it in an appropriate place. Microsoft actually has something here where you can install the Windows Build Tools. And you would want to install that globally. And you can see it actually puts it in its own dot folder here inside of my user folder. And it has some of the build tools installation, but you'll notice that it actually has the Pythons, and it has Python 2.7. And this kind of gives me the Python exe. You actually need that in order to run the node gyp, GYP build tool. You need Python in order to run the node-gyp tool, and then you need the node-gyp tool in order to install iJavaScript. So it's a bit of a pain, so that in order to actually run a JavaScript notebook, you have to have Python installed, and you have to have all of these other items installed. So I totally get that pain there, but once it's installed, it's pretty effective. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try to run one of these notebooks. Now, it might not work because I actually don't. Once you install Python 2.7, once you install the Windows Build Tools, you're actually going to want to take this path, and you want to go to your environment variables. And You can actually use the environment variables here, or you can set them directly on the command line. Your best bet would be to create a script that first sets these variables on the command line and then launches iJavaScript, or launches the installation if you need to launch the installation, make things a little easier. Otherwise, you can come in here into the environment variables and you can just scroll down to where it says Python. And you would just replace this with the one that's in the Windows build tools, and that'll solve that problem for you. So let's go ahead and try to run this and see what happens, right? Took a while to load. It loads up on localhost 888, and this of course opens in your current directory. What I can just do here is just to show you, I'm going to click new JavaScript. You notice it still has the Python in here. This is a Jupyter Notebooks interface, and all we really did was launch it with a shortcut. And now that we've opened it up, we see that it's JavaScript Node.js, and you see the little Node.js icon up here, and then of course you have some of your information. So maybe we can do a console.log. And then run this, and you can see that it runs it. So it works the same way that the Jupyter Notebooks works for Python. So go ahead and install this, because we're going to be using JavaScript. We're going to be using iJavaScript through Jupyter Notebooks in order to do some of these tutorial videos. And the other thing that we're actually going to do is we will use Visual Studio Code when we run to showcase some of the other functionality.